Scott Farkas. What a rotten name. We were trapped.
Yeah, it was very easy, and it is very easy in the movies to spot a bully and to deal with a bully. You can stand up to a bully in the movies.
You know who the bad guy is? Not so easy in real life. So thank you this morning. We welcome Jason, Kathy, and Amanda. You're all proud parents. Who here, by the way, has been bullied at one point?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so it's a very common thing. I think you posed a really great question, Kev. How do you spot a bully? Because do parents, are they willing to accept when their child is one, and how do they know?
So if we could, I just want to, before we get to that, I just want to get in, first of all, we want to remind people, because we talk about this a lot, we want to remind people, first of all, about the signs of bullying, that your child may be being bullied, because again, it's such a hard definition. So let's bring that board up, if we could, Andrew, about signs that your child may be being bullied.
And there are different variations of bullying as well. There's physical, emotional.
So he doesn't want to go to school, complains of stomach aches or anything of the like, loss of personal possessions, like something that you've bought them for Christmas, more reclusive at home, quick to get off the computer or hits delete on the phone screen, especially when you go by, Kath.
I was going to say, you know, and that last one's really key to me, because bullying can be such a silent thing now, because it's done on phones, it's done on computers and things like that, whereas before it used to be more verbalized and more people could see it happening, and perhaps you'd get some notification from the school that your child was being bullied, their friends might tell you, but now I find it's sort of gone underground a little bit, and that's a little bit scary. All of these things are definitely true, though.
And if they're not vocalizing to their parents, this has happened by this person, saying you have a stomachache or a headache is a nice, easy out to get away from it.
I used to do that, but guys, that last one is also difficult, because aren't all kids very defensive now when it comes to who they're talking to? Maybe they're embarrassed if it's a boy, or if they're watching something they know they shouldn't be. It doesn't necessarily mean they're bullying. So if you do see them, quickly click off, you know, their screen or shut off the computer.
Right.
What sorts of questions do you ask?
Well, I think, you know what, the kind of questions you need to ask are, who are you talking to? It depends on the age of the child, too. Like, if you've got a child who's very young with a phone, you maybe want to be monitoring that way more closely than before they're a teenager, when you do want to give them that privacy and that independence. So I think you just want, I mean, this is basic parenting stuff in a sense, that you want to be in constant contact with your kids all the time, having the family dinners, talking to them what's going on at school, making sure you know their friends. You know, we're going to talk, I think, about how to sort of prevent bullying. And there's a lot of ways that you can sort of prepare your child for that, too, that those conversations have started before this happens.
And who handles that and how they handle it is different, whether it be mom and dad, in a lot of cases.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's, I mean, the key, I think, is really kind of, you know, so it's that the balance of kind of respecting your kids' privacy. I mean, you do want to have them kind of have lives of their own, to agree. But I think that, I mean, certainly my daughter is 5, and I'm very conscious of kind of creating some kind of channels, different channels of communication all the time. So that these sort of things we're kind of getting ahead of it for sure.
What if they're afraid to tell you because there's shame involved? Because that's what's, you know, happened to me.
Or a
You're
threat.
ashamed. Or a threat.
I think maybe it's having that proactive approach rather than reactive when you're talking to your kids. Like, if they come to you and something dramatic has happened and your first instinct is, I'm going to call the parents, and you sort of have that, your kids might not feel so inclined to come speak to you. But if every time they talk to you it's calm, you're creating that calm environment, that they're safe, I think that there's more chance that they may come to you for maybe the small things, and you can start to track what's happening.
Do you ever take matters into your own hands? Do you see that kid? Do you go watch them during recess, who perhaps is doing things? Do you tell the teacher?
Right. I guess a few things on that. I mean, my first line of defense would be, let's try to understand that our kids don't always tell the truth, and they're telling one side of the story. Now, that can be hard to accept for some parents, but you're hearing one side. So you need to hear the one side. If you feel that it's, you know, severe enough, you need to talk to the teacher. The teacher is the first line of defense. Your school would have issued a code of conduct. They will have a bullying policy. Talk to the teacher about it. They see a lot going on. Talk to your kids' friends if they see this going on as well. Make sure you have a good, clear picture. It's hard not to get mama bear on people, but you need to get that logic in place.
Now, you're gonna talk more in just a few minutes on Facebook Live about what you can do about that. But one thing I want to get to right now, and again, we're going to carry the conversation on after this on Facebook Live, is what if your kid is the bully? So we have a board. We have a board for that as well. So is your kid possibly the bully? Likes to give orders and boss others. That's not just one thing. Quick to get frustrated and gets angry, has some anger management issues, likes violent games and TV shows, a lack of empathy, feeling sorry for someone, aggressive to pets, parents, siblings, etc. So we look at that as a whole.
Right.
I feel
As
like,
a whole, I was going to say not one
yeah,
thing.
and I look at this, and I have a 4.5-year-old, and she is a fierce little female.
Yeah.
So I feel like she covers a lot of these bases, and I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes it's, you know, we are getting into this a little bit of mean girl territory, even right now in senior kindergarten, and it's how do we use that power for good? And, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, having self-love and showing kindness, and in schools now they're doing this thing where they call it bucket fillers. And so how important it is to fill other people's buckets, and when you do, it fills your own. And if you are taking away from another person, it's not doing any good for you. It's going to empty your own.
Yeah. And I was, oh, sorry.
Sorry,
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just reading a stat that also half of kids, more than half of kids over between grades 6 and 10, experiment with sort of these sorts of bullying behaviors.
Well, they're trying to find their place.
Exactly, and a lot of growing up is really kind of just determining how you're using power, and that can mean power over the other
So
people.
what we can do is take these signs and sort of say, okay, if I see my child in this, let me just check in.
Yeah.
Let's do a
And you know
check-in.
what? Speak to your child's teacher and see if they're displaying this. Maybe they're just doing this at home with their younger brother or whatever. Like, make sure that it's a real thing before you.
transferring.
Yeah.
We could go on here on air for 3 hours on this.
exactly.
I know people at home want to get in on this. So Louisa is standing by over here right now. She is about to fire up Facebook Live as we speak. And so you're Kathy, you're going to take over
moderate
for
this
us. She's going to
discussion.
moderate.
Yep.
We want you to go to our Facebook page and you know, how do you deal with bullying? How do you prep your kids for it? The other thing we need to discuss is how do we prep our kids to stand up for others?
Exactly.
Because if a community stands together around someone who is being bullied, the bully loses the power.
Precisely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
how they react.
It's
Exactly
gonna,
right.
It's going to be a fascinating conversation. Breakfast Television Toronto on our Facebook page.
And thanks for repping the dads, because last time we said there's so many dads out there who work so hard with their kids. So yes, thank you guys.
All right, go ahead to our Facebook page right now. We are live. We'll be back with more Breakfast Television right after this.
Thanks.